Hello everyone, my name is Pieces. Once in a while, you'll find an annoying player alongside a bad circle. They prevent you from reaching circle and you both end up griefing each other. As what the famous poet Pieces would say, if you don't like something, do something about it. The best way that you can prevent a storm fight from happening is by avoiding it. There are many ways that you can avoid storm fights, from rotating early all the way to not playing the game. In my opinion, rotating early is the easiest and most effective strategy to avoiding storm fights. You get the freedom to loot while you rotate, and if worse comes worse, you can still fight when you see an opponent. A good way to start rotating early is keeping track of the storm shrink time on the top right corner. What I would do is when I'm roughly 1000 meters away from the circle, I would start rotating when the storm shrink time is around the 3-minute mark. For 500 meters, I would try to start rotating into circle when the storm shrink time is around the 1 minute and 30 seconds mark. Try to find what works for you for different distance and remember the timing so that you can use it every time a similar distance to the circle appears. If you find yourself to still get into storm fights, try to shift your rotate timing to an even higher storm shrink time. For example, if I was rotating at the 3-minute mark and I'm still getting into storm fights, I can try rotating even earlier at the 3-minute and 30 seconds mark. The next thing that I want to talk about is disengaging. Disengaging is probably the easiest way to dealing with storm fights. Say that you rotated early and you got into a long fight that lasted over 30 seconds while the storm is closing in. There are two things that you can do. One being playing more aggressive to try and end the fight as fast as possible, or you could slowly rotate away and disengage. Many people don't realize that once you start a fight, you can actually just leave it. And with the power of disengage, you can easily run away from fights that occurred in the storm or from any fight that you think is applicable. Just note that when you disengage from a fight, you're very vulnerable to shots, so make sure you're constantly looking at your opponents and building protections when you need to. Another way to dealing with storm fights is ending the fight fast. As mentioned before, you can either disengage or end the fight as fast as possible when you're in a storm fight. In team modes, storm fights can last very long, so what I would usually do is group up with my team and pick one opponent to jump on. If you play together with your team, you're less at risk of dying and you can secure a kill much easier. Focus on killing the solo opponent that is not near his teammates and end the fight from there. Try to play more aggressive depending on how far away you are from the circle. The further away, the more aggressive you want to play. This, however, does not mean you should jump in boxes brainlessly, especially if there is more than one opponent in the box. With solos, it's a bit harder to end storm fights, but the key takeaway is try not to spend too much time healing. If you think you're healthy enough to fight, don't heal and constantly pressure your opponent. And that has been it for the video. Hopefully you learned something new. Consider dropping a sub and using code PIECES in the item shop. Peace!